Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Let me tell you something I learned early in life. Life is not easy. Business is not easy. Relationships, health, finances, none of it is easy. But here's the twist. It's not supposed to be easy. The value is in the climb. The reward is in becoming the person who can handle it all. You see, the temptation is always to look at the mountain and wish it were a little shorter. We say, if only the economy were better, if only my job weren't so stressful, if only people were easier to deal with. But let me remind you of a truth that changed my life. The mountain doesn't get smaller. You get stronger. When you say, I wish it were easier, what you're really saying is, I don't want to grow. And life doesn't reward that kind of thinking. You don't get success by demanding less from life. You get success by demanding more from yourself. So don't wish your job were easier. Get sharper, read more, study more, learn communication, learn leadership. Don't wish the competition would disappear. Get so good they can't ignore you. Don't hope for fewer problems. Develop stronger problem-solving skills. Now, this shift in mindset, it's everything, because it puts you back in the driver's seat. You stop being a victim of circumstance and start becoming the architect of your future. The truth is, life doesn't get easier, you get better, and as you get better, suddenly things that once overwhelmed you now energize you. Challenges become opportunities, setbacks become springboards. So tonight, don't pray for the road to be smoother, pray for your legs to be stronger. Don't wait for life to get soft, train yourself to get tough. That's how you move from average to exceptional. Because the goal isn't to escape difficulty, the goal is to become the kind of person who thrives inside of it. That's the game, that's the path, and if you walk it with discipline, with humility, and with a hunger to improve, there's no limit to what you can do. Growth comes from challenge, not comfort. This idea strikes at the core of how we develop as individuals, both personally and professionally. It reveals a fundamental truth. True transformation, progress, and improvement rarely happen in the absence of difficulty. When life becomes easy, when circumstances are smooth and predictable, there is little pressure to change or adapt. Comfort breeds complacency, and complacency is the enemy of growth. On the other hand, challenge, with all its difficulties, uncertainties, and obstacles, acts as a catalyst for growth, pushing us beyond our limits and expanding our capabilities. Consider the nature of comfort itself. Comfort zones are spaces where our routines are familiar and the risks seem minimal. They offer security, predictability, and often peace of mind. While these are valuable in their own right, they can also become traps. Within comfort zones, the need to evolve diminishes because there is no real pressure to do so. It's natural for the human mind and body to seek comfort, to avoid pain, and to favor ease over effort. However, this very tendency can stunt development because it denies the mind and body the stimulus required for growth. Just as muscles require resistance to become stronger, the mind and character require challenge to expand. Challenge, in contrast, demands that we stretch ourselves. It disrupts the status quo and forces us to confront our limitations. Challenges come in many forms: unexpected setbacks, difficult conversations, physical exertion, mental puzzles, emotional struggles, or new responsibilities. Each challenge, while uncomfortable, presents an opportunity to develop new skills, perspectives, and resilience. When we face obstacles head on, we learn what we are capable of and often discover hidden strengths. It is in this friction, this push against resistance, that growth is sparked. The process of growth through challenge is not always straightforward or pleasant. It requires embracing discomfort and uncertainty. Growth demands courage, the courage to face failure, the courage to make mistakes, and the courage to persevere when the path is unclear. Many people shy away from challenges because they fear failure or rejection, or because the pain seems too great. Yet, without facing these difficulties, the potential for growth remains limited. Challenges force us to adapt, to problem solve, and to innovate, creating new pathways where none seemed to exist before. In life and work, those who avoid challenge often find themselves stuck. They might achieve a level of competence or success, but rarely break through to new heights. They settle for what is easy and predictable. On the other hand, those who seek out challenge, or at least accept it when it comes, continually evolve. They build mental toughness and resilience, qualities that allow them to thrive in changing environments. Challenges teach patience, discipline, and the value of effort. They help us to cultivate a mindset focused on growth and learning rather than fixed abilities or static conditions. A compelling example of growth through challenge is found in physical training. When you lift weights, your muscles experience strain and micro tears. This discomfort is necessary because it signals the body to repair and strengthen itself, making muscles larger and more resilient. Without the stress of lifting, muscles remain as they are. Similarly, the brain grows through what psychologists call desirable difficulties. These are tasks that push cognitive abilities just beyond current levels, forcing the brain to form new connections and improve function. Comfort, in contrast, leads to stagnation because it doesn't challenge the brain to adapt. In personal development, challenges serve as mirrors, reflecting back our weaknesses and areas for improvement. They highlight gaps in knowledge, skills, or emotional intelligence that might otherwise go unnoticed. By confronting these gaps, we can work on them, improving over time. For example, public speaking is a common challenge that many avoid because of fear or discomfort. Yet, those who face this fear and practice regularly become more confident, articulate, and influential. Their growth comes directly from enduring and overcoming the challenge, not from avoiding it. Moreover, challenges often force us to reevaluate our beliefs and attitudes. When things go smoothly, it's easy to cling to familiar habits and mindsets, but when confronted with difficulty, we are compelled to question our assumptions and find new ways forward. This reflection and adjustment lead to greater self-awareness and wisdom. Growth is not just about acquiring new skills, but also about developing a deeper understanding of oneself and the world. Challenge pushes us to evolve our thinking and broaden our perspective. The emotional growth that comes from challenge is equally important. Difficult situations often evoke strong emotions like frustration, fear, or sadness. Learning to manage and work through these emotions builds emotional intelligence, a critical skill for healthy relationships and leadership. Emotional resilience, developed through facing challenges, allows individuals to remain calm, focused, and effective under pressure. It also fosters empathy and compassion, as personal struggles increase understanding of others' difficulties. In professional settings, challenge drives innovation and excellence. Companies that embrace challenges tend to experiment, take risks, and push boundaries. They create cultures of continuous improvement where employees are encouraged to solve problems and think creatively. This environment promotes both individual and organizational growth. Conversely, workplaces that prioritize comfort and stability over challenge risk becoming stagnant and irrelevant. The rapidly changing world rewards those who grow and adapt, not those who seek to maintain the status quo. It's important to recognize that challenge does not mean reckless hardship or unnecessary struggle. Growth comes from challenges that stretch us, but are also manageable with effort and perseverance. Challenges that are overwhelming or destructive can lead to burnout or despair, which hinder growth. The key is to find the balance where challenge pushes us just enough to promote growth, but not so much that it breaks us. This balance requires self-awareness and sometimes guidance from mentors or coaches who can help navigate the path of growth. Ultimately, growth through challenge is a lifelong journey. There is no point at which one becomes so comfortable that growth is no longer necessary. Life's challenges may change in nature and intensity, but the need to engage with them remains constant. Those who commit to embracing challenge over comfort position themselves to live fuller, richer, and more impactful lives. They develop character, skill, and wisdom that comfort alone can never provide. In essence, comfort is a resting place, but challenge is the forge in which greatness is shaped. It is through challenge that we move from who we are to who we can become. By seeking challenge instead of comfort, we unlock the full potential within us and live lives marked by continual growth and meaningful achievement. You can't control the external, but you can master the internal. This statement captures a profound truth about where real power and freedom lie. The external world, events, people, circumstances, often feels unpredictable and beyond our influence. Storms come, markets fluctuate, relationships change, and unexpected challenges arise. Trying to control these external factors is often a frustrating and fruitless effort because they are shaped by countless variables outside our reach. However, what we can control is our internal world, our thoughts, attitudes, emotions, and responses. Mastering the internal is where true strength, peace, and effectiveness are found. When we focus on controlling the external, we put ourselves at the mercy of the environment. If success depends on others changing, on conditions being perfect, or on luck, then we live in a state of waiting and reacting. This often leads to frustration, anxiety, and helplessness because the external is inherently uncertain. Trying to manipulate or resist external forces wastes energy and steals peace. In contrast, by turning our attention inward, we reclaim control. We develop the ability to choose how we perceive situations, how we interpret events, and how we respond emotionally and behaviorally. Mastering the internal means cultivating self-awareness. It means observing our thoughts and feelings without being controlled by them. For example, when faced with criticism, instead of reacting defensively or feeling defeated, a person who masters their internal world pauses, assesses the validity of the feedback, and chooses a constructive response. This doesn't mean ignoring emotions, but understanding and managing them effectively. Emotions are signals, but they shouldn't dictate our actions impulsively. When we regulate our emotions and maintain perspective, we gain clarity and make better decisions. This internal mastery extends to mindset. Our beliefs and attitudes shape how we experience life. Two people can face the same external event, but respond very differently because of their internal frameworks. A mindset focused on growth sees challenges as opportunities to learn and improve, while a fixed mindset sees obstacles as threats or insurmountable problems. By choosing empowering beliefs, we influence our motivation, resilience, and ability to navigate adversity. Mastering the internal allows us to cultivate optimism, patience, discipline, and gratitude regardless of external conditions. Control over our internal state also impacts our habits and actions. Consistent success often depends less on external circumstances and more on the daily choices we make. How we manage time, how disciplined we are, how committed we remain to our goals. These choices originate internally. When we master ourselves, our impulses, focus, and willpower, we create momentum and progress that is not easily derailed by external challenges. Furthermore, mastering the internal leads to emotional resilience. Life inevitably brings disappointments, losses, and setbacks. Those who depend on the external for happiness or stability suffer greatly when things don't go their way, but those who have cultivated internal strength can weather storms with calm and confidence. They understand that their well-being is not tied to fleeting external conditions, but to their inner resources. This resilience helps maintain peace of mind and steadiness in chaos. Mastering the internal also improves relationships. When we manage our emotions and communicate with awareness, we respond rather than react. We listen better, empathize more, and build trust. By not projecting our internal turmoil outward or blaming others for our feelings, relationships become healthier and more constructive. In practical terms, mastering the internal involves practices like reflection, meditation, journaling, and self-discipline. It requires ongoing effort to understand oneself, identify limiting beliefs, and replace them with empowering ones. It means learning to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively, and to focus on what is within our power instead of what is not. Ultimately, the external world will always have elements beyond our control, but the internal world is ours to shape. When we master the internal, we become the architects of our experience. We gain freedom from being controlled by circumstance and develop the power to thrive regardless of what happens outside. This mastery is the foundation for lasting success, happiness, and peace.